Do you ever wonder what it'd be like to go to school with Jesus? Like, what was it like being his classmate? What was he like? Was he philosophical? Was he a teacher's pet? Was he quiet? Was he rebellious? I don't know. But I think that would add a little bit of the understanding I have of Jesus, knowing who he became and the influence he had. What was he like as a kid? I want to know. But why isn't there any writing on it? Why don't we have any historical data or stories or artifacts that explains any part of his childhood and what it would have been like in context to know him at that time? I'm a Christian, and I feel like these are some things that I should know. So instead of being curious and confused, I sit down with scholars, theologians, and experts, and I ask them to put it in context for me. So I sat down with a Jesus expert, Dr. Daryl Bach, and he answered all of my questions on Jesus' childhood. This is what he said. So if I lived and I went as classmates with Jesus, what was the world that I was experiencing?
Well, he lived in a rural area. He is surrounded, as we find out, by people whose primary vocation might be fishing or some form of agriculture.
Okay.
Um, he lived in a society in which there was a very thin elite who had all the power and all the authority and all the wealth. Uh, a substantial part of the population is living from day to day. There's only about the elites are said to make up about 3 or 4% of the population. What middle class there is probably about 10 to 15% of the population. Everyone else is trying to just survive from day to day. Um, they live in an environment in which Rome is in control of the world that they're in, and Israel and the Jews are submissive to being a vassal state in the Roman Empire. So there's some political stuff going on, and most of his illustrations come out of this agricultural world that we're talking about. So he talks about seed, and he talks about catching fish, and he talks about harvest and those kinds of things. And it's a Jewish environment that he's coming out of, so it has this historic faith rooted in Moses and the Torah that's a part of the world that he lives in, with different factions coping with the Roman presence at the same time.